If you search Google Images for food spoilage, most of the pictures that pop up are moldy food, right? That's because mold growth on food are so visible and disgusting. And wearable mold usually indicated the end of shelf life because no one wants to eat moldy food. Of course, specialty cheese with inoculated mold is another story. Mold can grow on low water activity and low pH foods on which bacteria cannot grow. So that's an important point there. So they have a wider range of growth. Common mold species have widespread distribution. So it is pretty hard to trace where particular mold contamination come from. Controlling water or moisture during the storage is the key to prevent the mold growth. I cannot emphasize that enough. It's always the case with mold growth, and proper harvest and post-harvest protection are also very important. For example, as you can see in this picture, the injury during harvest created an entryway for mold. In this case, it's a Fusarium, and which can really collapse a melon within just a few days. There are many mold species involved, and even though they have a wide range of water activity, but individual species also have their preferred range or their limited range that they simply cannot grow. Some common species here, Alternaria and Cladosporum, usually form those black or dark olive colored rot spot on vegetables. And if the bread mold usually are Mucro or Regipus, and Regipus also very aggressive, fast grower, can easily collapse like pumpkin within a day or two. And Fusarium is both plant pathogen and also spoilage agent. And Penicillomyces heat resistance. So sometimes you find that it can spoil lightly pasteurized food. And Penicillium Aspergillus are two very common genera that just cause a lot of headache in the food industry. So let me briefly mention these two genera. Penicillium can grow in almost any environment with minimum available water and carbon source. Some of them may produce mycotoxin. They can tolerate low water activity. Some of them are xerophilic, and the temperature range is pretty high as well, from refrigerator to thermophilic condition, and the pH range is really high. So they do cause a lot of spoilage. If you notice, there's a green, like whether it's bagel, or whether it's bread, or even orange, if you see a bright green colonies, most likely Penicillium, occasionally Aspergillus, but Penicillium is more common in certain areas. Aspergillus is both humans' enemy and friend. The friend part is they have a lot of, they are used in biotechnology industry to produce enzymes and a lot of other functions. But the enemy part is they cause spoilage and also produce mycotoxin. They can easily degrade agricultural products before and after harvest. So for the crops after harvest, the water activity is low, but it's not low enough for Aspergillus to grow. And the mycotoxin they produce, including the really potent ones like aflatoxin and ochratoxin, and other not very potent ones. And they also have a wide range of temperature and pH that they can grow. Some Aspergillus species associated with ascospores that is thermotolerant, which is bad news for pasteurized food. and they typically can spoil anything, you know, in the category of grains, dried beans, peanuts, tree nuts, and some spices. Fermentative yeast is an organism that makes ATP by aerobic respiration if oxygen is present, but is also capable of switching to fermentation when oxygen is absent. And the two examples are Saccharomyces cerevisiae. This is the one yeast. If you look at the range, the temperature range, the water active range, and especially pH range is pretty wide. And some strains even are preservative resistant, and they can spoil dairy product, juices, soft drinks, like salad dressing or Sprites, things like that. And Zygosaccharomyces bailey and other species in this genus is very notoriously spoilage agent because their ability to grow in pH very low range, and also they produce gas when they grow, so they cause bulging, and they can easily spoil. If we contaminate it can easily spoil juice, honey, jams because of their ability to adapt to the food system. Oxidative yeast is the category that we call it film yeast, because when they grow they're aerobic, so they tend to grow on the surface of things, of like a solution, or and then they form this film-like structure. Oxidation is a chemical reaction in which the electrons are lost and accompanied by reduction of gain of electrons. When we know that for acidified food, the pH is the control factor. However, some oxidative yeast and mold can spoil acidified food by metabolizing organic acid. If they grow substantially, they could raise pH of the food to an unsafe level.